always nice to start off with a bit of feedback because then it gets me going. As I said previously, what's the most difficult part of this podcast is how do you start? So starting off with a bit of feedback. And I'm just going to paraphrase because some people, their grammar. Damon, I've been worried about you. Have you recovered from that episode you did with Steve Marks? And I'm thinking, what is this person meaning? And I suppose they're thinking, okay, so Steve Marks, his viewpoint, his opinion, very much polar opposites to what I believe. So I suppose maybe this person's thinking like, was my weekend destroyed? Was I traumatized? No, not really. In hindsight, I was thinking to myself, was it a good idea to do that show with Steve? But you know what? I was prepared for it. I know what Steve does. I know he's, in my opinion, he's very right-wing. By his own admission, he celebrates his right-wing, his right-wing, whatever. His right-wing attributes. Sure, struggled there, hey? So I thought to myself, let's give another perspective. You might, so a bit of feedback. We get, Damon, you're a woke snowflake. So I thought to myself, maybe I'm a woke snowflake, whatever. I don't even know what woke means. If woke means logical, intelligent, truth-seeking, believing in human rights, open-minded, then I'm woke. Was Winston Churchill woke? Winston Churchill fought against Hitler. Well, then you know what? If he was woke, then I'm glad to share that woke quality. So, but be that as it may, having said that, I suppose having another perspective on the show, I couldn't do it. I thought I would give you an idea what the opposite of me would say. And can I say I was happy with the show? I thought from a technical point of view, I was happy. It flowed. It went a bit frustrating because we got, there were 3 sections, I think, where I thought, okay, got to stop there. I'm not going to change Stephen's mind. Stephen's not going to turn around and say, you know what, Damon, you're wise beyond your years. No, he's not going to. So I thought, let's move on to the next thing. And somebody commented, oh, Damon, you're a wuss. You let Stephen walk all over you. You know what? Maybe I came across like that, but you know what? Stephen is an alpha male. But what's worse than an alpha male? A right-wing alpha male. I don't know what I am. Scientists are still trying to work out what I am. Am I alpha? Am I beta? Am I gamma? Who knows? I think I'm a bit of a hybrid. There's a side of me that can be alpha. I took this medication, just as a bit of a sidebar. I took this medication, Shilajit, Shilajit. It's like a natural substance, Shilajit. It makes your body produce more testosterone. And Bernice noticed it. She said, you became very aggressive lately. I've noticed the last couple of weeks you become more aggressive. Like, what's going on? And then I had to tell her, it's the Shilajit. So I ran out of the Shilajit, finished a week and a half ago. And I can't get it anymore. Well, the pharmacy have run out of it and they're very slow to order it. Maybe if I was on the Shilajit with Stephen, that last episode, maybe you cannot have 2 alpha males together. I mean, look at nature. Look at the wild with the lions. There's the alpha lion, the lion it's his pride of lions. It's just him. And now and again, another lion will challenge to take over that pride, so he can mate with the lionesses. So it's just as well I didn't have my alpha on with Stephen. But the show did well. The numbers were healthy. Well, like 3 times more people than normal. So Stephen said, it was good, thank you. He said to me, well done, Damon. I said to him, you know what, it was more of a Steve Marks show. It was more of a Steve Marks show. It's not really my thing. Look, maybe we'll do it. We'll do it again somewhere down the line. I'm sure we will. Just have to wait. It's all about timing. You have to wait for the timing. The incident needs to happen. And maybe we'll do it. We'll see. 49 minutes is a bit too long. But you know, I said to Stephen, why don't you do your own podcast? I said to him, right-wing podcasts are very big. Very big. Very popular. Believe it or not. And then you might be asking yourself, Damon, come on. Why would you encourage such a thing? You know, you're so sensible. Dare I say lefty, wokey. Dare I say liberal. I don't like to use that word. I don't like labels. Don't like labels. And I said, you know what? There's somebody else who will do a right-wing podcast show. Other people will do it. I'd rather Stephen do it. You know? Rather the Stephen you know. You know, I can just picture it. He's talking about the Muslims are taking over Europe, and I can just picture it. He's not keen. He says, no, you doesn't want to do monologues. Anyhow, maybe am I going to create a monster? I don't know. You know, in theory, the opinion and the rhetoric of Stephen's outlook, you know, this whole right wing, dare I say it's toxic? I'm sorry, I've got to admit it. It's toxic. But it didn't fill me. It didn't fill me with anger and despair. I suppose maybe 20, 30 years ago, I would have felt anger and despair. Have I matured? Have I got more perspective? Or maybe I just don't care. Maybe I just don't care anymore. Yeah. You know, there's so much rubbish out there. There's so much disinformation. There's so much toxic right-wing stuff. Hey, you know what? Let Stephen do it. I'd rather Stephen do it. I was sitting down at the Mug and Bean with Stephen on a Saturday afternoon. Got chatting. Bernice was there. Daughter Alexa was there. We got chatting. We were having a good time. And I don't know what came over me. Let's do a show. Because occasionally I do a show with Stephen. That's what we do. But one of the biggest things that really, and I only thought about it afterwards, that there's this question and this theory and this possibility that the Jewish community in South Africa either want to be, they think that there's going to be a possibility that we might have to be evacuated from South Africa. Evacuated. Hello? And I thought about that. I thought, it's embarrassing. No, man. Look what's happening in Ukraine for the last 2 years. Russia invading Ukraine. That's an evacuation situation. That's when you evacuate. In Ethiopia in the mid-80s, 1985, a large majority of the Jewish community in Ethiopia were, I don't even know if they used the word evacuate, but I suppose they did. They were evacuated, they schlepped to Israel. Evacuation is a very strong word. Now, my father, Avasholem, the late, my father is from Latvia. Then it became part of Russia. Now it's Latvia again. He was born in 1927. There were pogroms. There was anti-Semitism. You risked your life being Jewish in Latvia in 1927. There was rabid anti-Semitism in Europe. People were killing Jews. It was like Yekske. It was a hobby. And I looked up the records. My father arrived in South Africa, I think in 1933. Caught a ship from Odessa Odessa's in the Ukraine. How my father got from Latvia through the Ukraine to Odessa, frig me, I don't know. Why didn't I ask him? Maybe he probably didn't remember. Caught a ship from Odessa with his sister. No other. His father came ahead. His father was in South Africa first. I don't know how long he was in South Africa for. Then him and his sister came by themselves. I think they were with some family friends. Arrived in Durban, in the port of Durban. Don't know how long he was in Durban. Then he went to Livingstone, which was called Northern Rhodesia at the time, which is now Zambia. Then he came back to South Africa later on in his life. I don't know the details. And, oh, no, hang on. I had a thought about that. Come on. Damn it. I forgot what I was going to say regarding that. Oh, yes. Sure. I didn't write down all the notes. His mother, in the meantime, who was still in Latvia, in Dvinsk, they were from Dvinsk. Now Dvinsk is called something else. They should have stayed with Dvinsk. Dvinsk is much, it's got this hot, Liap, it's got a funny name now. She died of typhoid. The mother died of typhoid. Maybe typhoid was a euphemism for pogroms. There were pogroms and she was chopped into pieces. Maybe, you know what? We're going to go with typhoid to make ourselves feel more comfortable. But you know what I mean. Who gets typhoid? I suppose they got typhoid back then. How do you get typhoid? Don't know. Something gets in. Look it up. I used to know these things. So there you have it. That's evacuation. So when somebody like Howard Sackstein writes an article in the South African Jewish Report and he talks about the possibility of the Jewish community being evacuated, I'm sorry, with all due, you should be ashamed of this. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed to be using that word evacuation. It's an insult. It's an insult to people who are really evacuated. Back in World War II, 1939, or was it before 1939, the kinder transport. Jewish children were put onto trains and taken to England. That's evacuation. Don't talk about evacuation now in the South African context. It's insulting. It's insulting to the memory of the people and to the legacy and the history. It's an insult to history. And you know what the scary thing is that I'm not an historian. I'm not an intellectual. And even I know this. Oh. Very, very, very troublesome. Very troublesome. And then I thought to myself, I was driving my daughter to school this morning. Evacuation. That's heavy. That's heavy. Imagine you and I, you're told you're going to evacuate. Imagine if we evacuated, leave this house and just evacuate. So I thought of the Gazans. I thought of the Palestinians living in Gaza and the way the Israeli Defense Force say, oh, you know what, we humanitarian, before we bomb the buildings, we told them to evacuate the building. We've told the Palestinians to evacuate northern Gaza to go to the south. So therefore we good people. To expect people to evacuate is a very, very heavy thing. It's not just go brush your teeth. Really. Imagine just pick up everything. Just the clothes on your back and maybe a little suitcase. Get your donkey. Have you noticed the donkeys? Thank God for donkeys, hey? The donkeys have made a comeback. If they weren't using donkeys for other things, if you were this lazy donkey in Gaza and you weren't doing anything, well, now you got a job. Now you feel you got some kind of, you feel worthwhile. The donkeys have got their dignity back there they've been useful. No petrol, cars are bombed. There's your donkey. It's like we've gone back to 1767 there in Gaza. Yeah. I think I'm gonna stop it there. because I'm drained. I'll be honest with you. I am drained from last time. Oh, another thing that's upsetting me that maybe I must mention, and maybe give me a thought. Think about me. I've discovered apricot jam on cheddar cheese. Bad news, bad news. It's like I've fallen off the wagon. I got back into good health yesterday. I weighed myself in the morning, 117.7. Got to still lose at least another 7 kilograms, but it's this no sugar, no carbs. Yesterday and today, this morning, I must have had 6 slices of cheddar cheese with apricot jam. Not good. So just keep in your thoughts, think about it, give me strength. I don't really believe in prayer. And also just, I don't want to make this all about myself. I'm trying to say, you can possibly relate. You're not alone with your eating disorder. I'm with you in spirit, and I hope I can inspire you. So I had my 5 slices of cheddar cheese with the apricot jam. So I'm going to try I'm not going to eat anything else for the rest of the day today. Maybe tonight I'll have 4 chicken sausages. 4 chicken sausages with a little bit of pickle. That's it. Oh, maybe a little bit silver lining. I ran, in inverted commas, 5 kilometers yesterday. So that's quite something. Averaged 10.32 kilometers an hour, which is very slow, but it's a huge improvement. So that's where I stand at the moment. I mean, how are you doing? Are you exercising? Are you watching the? I mean, yeah, I'm trying to, give you some hope.